Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us today on our Positioned for Purpose Conversations with Colette Marie podcast. I'm your host, Colette Marie. Yes, our podcast is for women of faith who struggle to see God in the places of pain and hardship and who need a reminder, a gentle reminder that right where you are, God will use you in the mess, in the hardships, in your most challenging times, in your heartaches and in your pain. God has a greater plan for your story. Romans 8:28 states, "For we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose." Today's conversation will be on faithfulness of God. Have you ever been in such a dry season like the valley experiences where it seems as if no doors are opening and you're wondering, where is God? He's called you to this thing and you're just not seeing him? Or have you been in a place of 1 minute you believe he's coming through and another minute you're not quite sure where he is? Why hasn't he showed up yet? Today, I want to talk to you about my experiences. Listen, I got up this morning and I had to be in a mood of reflection. And I thought about how faithful God has been in this difficult season and in past difficult seasons as well. In this month, August 2024, the Lord somehow seemed to have magnified in mine eyes how faithful he has been to me throughout, I want to say particular, this past 2 weeks. He has shown me that he's always got me. He's always been by my side. He's never left me. Even in the deepest and the darkest moments when I thought he wasn't there, when I wondered why he was taking so long, when I felt heartbroken, when I felt neglected, he reminded me that his hands has always been there. He has been guiding me. And I know sometimes it sounds cliche when we say, "Oh, God has always been there. Haven't you seen him?" But I find that when we have this experience with him, when he reminds us of his faithfulness, when he reminds us that that situation that we've been through, that it could have been worse, when we look at that same situation and we found favor, when we saw that in that same situation he gave us peace, he allowed the matter to not overtake us. He didn't allow us to be singed when the situations got so much for us. And I found that in these times it is easy to think that God is not there. And that's why reflection is important. When he takes us to a place of looking back, what that does for us is in those moments we're able to see, as I've mentioned before, that all along when we thought that we were alone, that God was always there. How does it help in the current season? It helps because it gives us a level of hope, an attitude of gratitude, and thanksgiving starts welling up in our spirits, in our and in our entire being. Because what it says to us is, while I am going through this darkness, while I am in this valley, that God has not left me. A friend and I were having a conversation today and we were talking about how faithful God has been. We were talking about the life as entrepreneurs, being obedient to what God has called us to do. And in that obedience, sometimes not sure of how the bills are going to be paid, but knowing that we had to continue on the path that he has called us to, while it has not been easy. But we have seen God's hands. We've seen him open doors. We've seen him made ways for us. We've seen him extended grace and favor. what I have noticed as she was speaking, it reminded me of my conversations earlier in the morning with the Lord and how He was just showing me and reminding me that in all of my challenges that He was always there. So you might know my story by now, or maybe you don't. So I'll share it. I'll share bits of pieces along our journey. That in 2019, I felt called to do more, to be more. And I was called to entrepreneurship, something that I was always running away from because I could not see myself as someone selling their services. How can I earn an income from something that seems so unstable? And in these moments, I've had to trust God. So as I made that move and then 2020 would have stepped in, it felt like, God, what are you doing? Why did you allow this to happen? When I finally became obedient, when I finally decided that I wanted to follow you, I wanted to do what you have called me to do. What also resonated with me is that in His reminder to me that He's always been there, I pushed beyond just the now and I went back to 2019 and I started seeing just the hands of God. Because in reality, I should have lost my home. I should have lost my vehicle. So many things should have happened. And it's now 2024 and that has not happened. And it did not happen because I did anything. It's because I had to trust God. I had to not lean onto my own understanding. I had to acknowledge Him in all my ways. Have I made big messes along the way? Of course I have. Have I been disobedient along the way? Of course I have. Of course I have. I have not fully listened. There are days when I didn't really trust what God was saying, when I wondered, God, why did you call me to this? To serve women as their coach and as their mentor, as a leadership trainer. Why have you called me to this? Why have you called me to speak and I'm not seeing the doors open? Are you sure this is what you have called me to? I had to get to a place to understand that these are the things that He has created within me to make an impact where He has called me to serve. And while I might not be seeing the benefits or all the benefits of what an impact-driven life looks like, God's hands has always kept me. He's opened a door there for me to speak. He's opened a door there for me to sell my books. He's opened a door there for me to coach or to mentor someone. But sometimes we get caught up because it's not the big thing. It's not the big dollars. It's a small thing. And as my friend said, she had to be happy in earning the small income. And as she was happy in earning the small income, she saw God just increased her finances, increase her. And I took that and I dwelt on it because I realized that that is true. Because I actually was talking to my mentee about the same thing. The fact is that God has called us and equipped us to do things in the earth. And sometimes these things do not pan out the way how we think they are going to pan out. But it is still God who has called us to the work. And guess what? Along that journey, He has been faithful. What does faithfulness looks like? And let me remind you, faithfulness looks like a bill being paid. Faithfulness looks like a friend or a colleague telling you about an opportunity that you would not have known about. Faithfulness looks like someone just coming alongside you and giving you a hug, giving you an encouraging word and telling you that don't worry, God is right there with you. So today, I want to encourage you and to remind you that God is and will always be faithful. He sees you. He knows you. He knows what you and I need more than we know it ourselves. Even the hairs on our heads are numbered. And if they are numbered, it means that God has us. It doesn't matter how your situation may seem at this moment, and you may be feeling hopeless. You may be questioning God. You may be saying, but God, Father, how long? And He's saying, my child, I just need you to look through the rearview mirror. You've had experiences with me. You've seen me come through time and time again. I am here with you. So today, I want to encourage you that in everything give thanks, in everything, in the good times and in the bad times, and take a moment to reflect on the goodness and the faithfulness of Almighty God, because where you are now, it is He who has helped you to get there. And all He wants of you to do is to remember that whether you are on the mountaintop or you are in the valley below, He is still God. He is still good. He is faithful, and His faithfulness is past finding out. Right? So today I hope that you enjoy listening to our podcast on a reminder that God remains faithful. In the description box, there is a freebie for you. I hope that you will grab it. It's a workbook on the power of her voice, building your confidence. Remember, God is faithful. Continue to trust Him.